Are we almost ready, guys? Welcome, everybody. My name is Jules. We are here for this interrupted version of the lockdown tonight. We are here at Hillcrest in the quarry. It's freezing cold. And we are here, ladies and gentlemen, because our industry, the events and entertainment industry, is in crisis. We've been 5 months without work, not just the musicians, the technicians, the crew, the cleaners, all the staff that it takes to make an event a successful thing that happens. So we're here tonight to talk to some of the industry's key people and key players. And by key players, I don't mean the most famous or the most successful. I mean the people that literally help pull these events together, that make them happen, that make them are what they are. But before we start, we're here to create a movement. We're here to create a groundswell. We're here to get all of you to help us light SA Red. So ladies and gentlemen, please join me right now as we light this quarry red.
Mayday, mayday, code red, mayday, mayday, code red. This is a distress call. I repeat, this is a distress call from the South African entertainment, events and creative industry. We are facing massive destruction and we are fighting for our survival. Calling all red kitties to come to our immediate aid and assistance. This is not a draw. I repeat, this is not a draw. Calling all red kitties to come to our immediate aid and assistance. Code red. This is not a draw. Repeat, this is not a draw. Mayday, mayday.
There's 1,000 voices bleeding in my head. Whoa. Code red. Won't you come and rescue me before I'm dead? Whoa. The global village.
So here we are, we're in the middle of the Hillcrest Quarry. It's freezing cold. Like I said, we're here to join the Light SA Red initiative. I got a nice red blanket and I'm sitting on a couch here trying to keep warm. Obviously, guys, this whole initiative is about the events and entertainment industry. So it's not just about musicians, it's not just about artists, it's about all the key players that all come together to make these events happen the way that they do. And we're talking, if you can actually understand the scale of what we're talking about, you'll know we're talking from like the technicians, the roadies, right through the cleaners, right through to the VJs, the security. The list is so endless. And not only are we talking about those people, but also the families that are affected. It's millions and millions of people, guys. And we've spoken about the tourism industry. We've had the spotlight shine on the restaurant industry, but the events and entertainment industry has not yet had a voice. And that is what tonight is all about. Light SA Red are lighting up over 400 different iconic buildings and areas around South Africa. And thanks to all of those technical companies that made that happen, we're trying to make an impact, shine a light on what we are doing here as an events and entertainment industry. So tonight, I'm going to be interviewing key people, and it really is such a diverse lineup that we've got on the show tonight. We're interrupting our lockdown. Those of you would have known, we normally present the lockdown on a Wednesday night. We're interrupting it. We're joining the movement. And first up, he's been on the lockdown not once but twice. So this is the third time he's going to be on the show. But obviously for Light SA Red, I thought it'd be really, really good to start the show with somebody who is actually very well known, very famous, a musician, an incredible businessman and entrepreneur, and also just a general kind of, I said one click away from a politician, in my opinion. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome David Scott from the Kiffness. Hello, Dave.
Thanks, Jules. Also sporting red.
I love it.
I would have taken this jacket off, but it's a bit cold.
It's about -5, hey, in
Yeah.
Cape Town tonight. And somebody gave me an electric blanket, so you can come sit with me later. But anyway, so Dave, listen, this obviously it's a huge deal. We've been very quiet as an industry up to now. 5 months, we've been kind of doing good, doing charity, helping others, being a voice for other people. But I think now we're sitting in a situation where our whole industry is on the brink of collapse.
Yeah.
And it's not about only us as artists. We're obviously one of the many factors. But personally for you, how, as a musician, how has COVID-19 affected you? Just tell us a little bit about your story.
Well, I feel like I'm in quite a lucky position
Yes.
because, you know, my YouTube has grown substantially and I've been making money off YouTube. I've got an EP that's doing incredibly well on Spotify. So I think even though it sucks that, you know, we can't gig,
Yeah.
we still have other streams of income
Absolutely.
coming through. We've also got like Samra and Sampra. If you've actually gone and done your homework and set that up, you can get money from that as well, which has come as a very welcome relief to me. I mean, Sampra paid out just the other day.
Yeah.
And without gigs, I mean,
It's what we're relying on,
I'm taking anything I can get. But I mean, for the guys who set up this amazing rig, doing sound and, you know, the events that we normally play at this exact venue. I mean, we've done so many shows here at the Hillcrest Quarry, corporate shows, Get Lucky, Summer is quite a big one that happens here. And yeah, it's all just gone. And, you know, people come to these events and they just see us on stage, but they don't see the hundreds of people behind the scenes. I mean, it takes a lot of people to put on an event. And yeah, I mean, 5 months without any of that is crazy.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But you raise a very valid point. You know, I think as musicians, as original musicians, shall I say, we are in a very fortunate position that we have royalty income streams and other ways that we can make a living, selling merchandise, gaining the support of our fans. But there's so many people that are just sitting on the cusp of not knowing what to do. And 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, you know, like, where does that leave you? With your running commentary that you've had like really good social commentary throughout the whole coronavirus thing. You've been doing parody after parody after parody, and it's been great. You know, it's really shone a beautiful, humorous light on the subject. But you've also, you know, you've had some people that have really taken you quite seriously, and you've had messages from ministers, and you've had people kind of come back at you with some of the commentary that you've been doing. Do you think that there is a way that you could put a Dave Scott Kiffner spin on this whole situation potentially and try and get more of a spotlight from government?
Well, I definitely got the attention of government with my cigarette ban parody of the national anthem.
Yes.
I think that hit quite a big nerve.
Yes.
But yeah, in terms of the industry, I've been trying to think of an angle to make it work.
Yeah.
I haven't thought of anything as of yet, but I mean, with
you're
this
open to ideas, man.
Yeah, with this whole hashtag and movement, I mean, these initiatives are great because they kind of, you know, wake us up and you know, people are now talking and trying to figure out what they can do. And yeah, like since I've seen this whole movement, I've been trying to think of ways to use what I've been doing, you know, making parodies and that kind of thing to just shine a massive spotlight on this.
But you have already been doing a lot for Tecx. I mean, you did something recently where you raised money for the Safe Fund. Am I right? And you raised a whole bunch of food aid packages that go to these technicians that are really struggling at the moment.
Yeah, so I did a run of merchandise with Africa onesies, and yeah, we sold a bunch within the space of a week, and all the profits from that went to the Safe Fund. Amazing. And they've been doing such amazing work. I mean, they're delivering these food packages to workers who work in events who haven't got anything from government. You know, like and it's basic food. It's sump and beans and oil and just things to survive. Yeah. So with every container, a family of 4 was fed for a month. So with every onesie bought, it bought a container. So people were really helpful in. That's awesome. I think it's just a nice onesie as well. I mean, by buying a onesie, you're helping support, you know, the seamstresses who are making them. Yeah. Because it's all locally made, and it was just it was a great idea.
So it's supporting an artist, it's supporting the curators, and it's supporting those in need. But you know, like you said, that's triage. That's emergency food. That's not the situation that we can be in the next 5 months. You know, we've really hung on by our fingernails up to this point, but the next few months is crucial. And I think from your side, what would you like to see from government? You know, what answers would you like to get right now as an artist?
Well, we applied for the COVID relief fund. Yeah. And we're still waiting for payment for my bandmates. We got an email 2 months ago saying our application was successful. And then we waited, and I kept following up, kept phoning people who referred me on to other people. You know, writing emails and phoning different people until I reached one person who was able to help me. But I mean, this is months and months of following up.
Yeah.
And I'm in a position where, I can afford data and airtime. I'm thinking about guys who are living in townships who are trying to get their relief, and it's just almost impossible. So if Nati Mtetwa or anyone at the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture is listening, please pay my bandmates. My bandmate is literally fighting to pay his rent. I mean, this last gig we did was helpful, helping him, cover rent and just food, And this is a very skilled saxophone and keys player.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a successful session musician, it's crazy. It's crazy. When you hear stories like that, you realize the depth. And Dave, I'm gonna use this opportunity to link to the next interview, because we're talking about to somebody exactly like that, who, unlike you and me, original music artists, where we have the luxury able to rely on our royalties and our sample checks. He's also a session musician, straight up earns his living of playing the bass and playing it very well for a few artists, but has been without gigs for 5 months. This is Ashley. He was almost evicted on the weekend. It got to that level. He put a message out on Facebook just saying, guys, I'm a good person. I'm being evicted on the weekend, not because I don't want to pay my rent or because I'm a bad tenant, because I actually can't anymore. And luckily, a few friends have helped him out temporarily. But the fact that one of our top session musicians in the country is in this situation just goes to show you how dire the situation actually is. So, Dave, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Jules.
And this, what you're about to watch, guys, is my interview with Ashley here on this interrupted version of the LUCKDOWN. Hello, Ashley.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Hi. Oh man, it's nice to see your face. I'm sorry we can't have you at the quarry in person, but I'm really glad we've got to pre-record this interview and still chat to you, because you have an extraordinary story, one that's very relevant to this whole campaign, Light SA Red. And I just want to start off by you just giving everyone a quick introduction of who you are and what you do as an artist.
Okay, man. Hi, I'm Ashley. I'm a bass player. I play for Jan Blom, who's an Afrikaans rock artist, alternative artist, and also for a few others, also Basson Loopsha and the Violent Free Piece, and some other artists that are in the scene. So I'm a touring musician, been doing so for the last 5 years, I think. That's who I am.
That's what you do.
That's me.
Now, Ashley, you are the most kind of perfect guy to talk to when it comes to what's happening in our country right now, because like you said, you're a touring musician, you play for other artists, but you rely on gigs. Like, you don't gig, you don't work. And the reality is, you put out a post on social media. I don't think you necessarily intended to go viral. I think you were just venting. You were very honest. You said, guys, like, I'm not a bad tenant. I'm a good guy. I pay my rent on time every month, but as of tomorrow, I'm going to be evicted from my house. And it's just because no one is giving us answers. I have been unable to work, and now I'm in this situation. So talk to me about how it's felt, as just to start, how it's felt being a musician, doing what you do, and having been without work for the last 4 months.
It's tough because I stopped working literally in the middle of a tour, and I think for a lot of the guys that are touring musicians, I think that was the toughest thing, is the not even being able to complete the tour. And there was no warning given. It was just, listen, guys, it's social distancing. All your shows have been cancelled. And in the beginning, you think to yourself, fine, it's okay. It's only going to be for a couple of weeks. As it was said, it will be for And so you kind of rely on the nest egg that you have, obviously savings and whatnot. But then come 5 months down the line, we haven't heard any answers from government. We haven't heard any answers from relief funding and all these things that were promised to the musicians. I mean, how do they expect that we should live? Especially for a guy like myself and many others who depend on the gigs to carry on. Sometimes people don't understand. Not all musicians are producers or studio musicians, that work in studios. And for a lot of the live cats, for a lot of the live musicians, it's been tough, and especially for myself as well. Like I said, I'm not a bad guy, so you know, to be put out of your apartment because of loss of income. And it's not as if we don't have work. We have the work. They're just not allowed to work. They're taking away the platform for us to play. You understand? I mean,
Yeah.
I can go in to depth about all the how can I put it, the contradictions that government has given. You know, it's like how do you fit 15 people into a taxi and call it okay, but you don't want to, where you can implement social distancing at a show, so at least the venue, the musician, and everybody there's having a good time and earning money. You understand? And so I mean, it's a tough pill to swallow, to be honest. You know, being at home and not being able to work and having to worry where the next, you know, where your next rent check's gonna come from, because government doesn't give a damn. You understand? Yeah.
No, it's so relevant what you're saying now, and you are one of many guys in the same boat. You know, like you were saying, for artists like ourselves, where we're writing and producing music, there is some sort of revenue coming in from royalty checks, but there are hundreds of musicians that we also rely on as artists to play in our bands that suddenly don't have any way of earning a living. And like you said, 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, even you can figure it out. But when 4, 5, 6 months, and also no answer for the foreseeable future, you know, what are you supposed to do? Have you applied for funding? Can I just ask, have you applied to the funds that have been put out there? And what have you had zero response, or have you had any feedback from any of them?
Nothing. Even as a band, we had applied. Even on as an individual, I had applied, and on both sides we haven't received anything. Not a hey, we received your application. Nothing.
Crazy, absolutely crazy. You know, yeah, I think we're obviously starting this movement, Ash, not to just talk about the government. It's very frustrating. They are inept. I think we all kind of realizing that as citizens of this country. But also just to shout out to anyone who's out there who has ever enjoyed a gig, you know, or has ever enjoyed a live music experience. I think that there is an awareness. Everyone's been speaking about the tourism sector, the restaurant sector, but no one has been talking about the events industry and the fact that we're just the tip of the iceberg as musicians. You know, there are so many other industries that rely on us doing what we do, you know, and you'll agree, cleaners, barmen, sound engineers, freelancers. There's a pyramid of people, and so we're just calling out to everyone to say, help us make a noise about this. Light whatever you can, red. You know, get the message out there. If there's a message that you would like to give to anyone who's watching this in a way that you feel they can support artists and musicians, what would you say to them?
Light the shit red, you know, as much as you possibly can. You know, you need to spread awareness. It's like you say, it's not just us, it's everybody that needs to benefit from this. As you have mentioned, bartenders and sound engineers, lighting engineers, the whole spectrum of it. Guys, get the awareness out there. Open the events and entertainment sector so that we can make people happy again. You know, yeah. Let allow us to bring happiness back. Okay.
Yeah, Ash, completely.
Yeah.
And then just quickly, I think that's a beautiful answer. Just quickly, on the on your side, because I know your story is obviously quite hectic, and it affected a lot of people, and I think it hit home for a lot of people who weren't necessarily realizing kind of how dire the situation is. On your side, not to water it down, because you shouldn't have to rely on the kindness of other people, but have other people come in and stepped up to the plate and helped you out a little bit?
Oh yes, man. Not even a little bit, more than a little bit, man. It's people have been amazing. I mean, I had to be out of my apartment on Friday, and by Friday afternoon I was in another, you know. And that was purely because of the help of friends and fans out there. It was it really, I mean, I don't know if you saw the follow-up update post I did after that. It really kind of restored my faith in humanity a little bit, you know. Just because people were so quick to be like, listen, this is not right. You can't stay on the street, you know.
Yeah.
And
It is. it really affected a lot of people. Like, I mean, Tim, your friend Tim, who he put the post to us, and he said like it just made him realize how dire the situation has become, because he knows you from the scene. He knows how talented you are. He knows that you have a steady job, normally working sessions with various bands and projects, and you're a successful session musician, and to see that somebody of your caliber could be sitting going, guys, I'm going to be evicted tomorrow. It like really hit home for him.
Yeah.
And when he brought me that story, I was like, wow, but thank goodness for some people out there who are willing to back you.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, I've seen a lot of my friends selling their gear and stuff, and I can't believe it, It's like, if you know that you got that money to help that person, now don't buy the gear, help him out, it will come back. Because the thing is, selling, because I thought about it as well. I was thinking about it. Sell your gear, man. And what else can you do? You don't. But then, what happens when things open up again? And then we're still sitting with the same problem. Then you got nothing to go and play with. Gig with. And I mean, people are buying gear to help other people out. Help them out. Let them pay you back eventually when things get better. Don't take the gear.
Yeah. No, that's so true. That's so true.
So yeah, I've really been lucky with, and once again, thank you to all of you. You are, my I don't even know how to thank them better. But yeah, my friends and the fans have really come through for me, and yeah, I am sitting in a very nice place, and I've got a roof over my head,
Yeah, well, Ash, I just want to say, first bait, we all obviously calling on government. This is what this is. If not to give us handouts, man, just to give us a plan, because I think once we have a plan that we can work towards, things become a lot clearer, and we can all kind of map the road. But I just want to say on behalf of artists, call it original songwriting artists, to strong session performing artists, keep strong, and also just to let you know, like, don't let it get to that situation again. Reach out to the other artists. We're here to help each other. I think at the very least, at the end of the day, if we have to be the only ones helping each other out, like, we'll do it. I think we've got a strong community of musicians, and we have to keep building and focusing on that. But but just keep strong, man, and keep playing, and don't sell your gear. Phone us first.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't do it. But like everyone, for Ash, who is representing hundreds of other musicians, if you haven't by now, go light SA Red. Go do a post. Even if you just take a red torch and light your face up and post about it. #light SA Red. We need to spread the word. We need to get the message out there. Ash, thank you so much for being on this interview today, and for helping us share your story that can hopefully help lots of other people out there.
And thanks to you guys as well, man. And thanks. Keep up what you guys are doing. And I hope people see this. And it's Light SA Red. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Ash. Big hugs.
Bye-bye.
What a guy. Ashley, and his story is incredible, and I think it really hits home for a lot of people. This industry is not just affecting musicians, it's affecting so many different industries that are attached to the live events industry and the music industry. We're going to talk to two companies now who are instrumental in making a lot of the events that you would have attended happen. We're going to be talking to Nick Decker from Carbon and Eden as well, the Eden Experience, and we're going to be talking to Justin from Tecx. And before we do that, I just thought we'd play you a little snippet in case you want to know a little bit more about what the bar industry looks like. This is a video from Carbon. Check it out.
You can tell me that you want me, but I don't see it in the way that you move. You can tell me that you want me, but I don't see it. Ooh, you think that I'm gonna be here for all that shit you pull. Boy, I got news. Changes all over you, changes in the way that you move.
So there we go. In case you didn't know, that is a little video from Carbon and what they do. And first of all, we're going to catch up with these two guys. We got Nick and Justin. Guys, before we get started, please introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about what each of you do.
Hi guys, I'm Nick and I'm frozen. No, I'm just kidding. I'm the managing director of Carbon Events Bar Services, as well as the Eden Experience and Small Town Beat Music Festival.
Yeah, how's it, guys? I'm Justin, and I am one of the owners of TechX, which was a sound and lighting company, and also a partner in both the Mixed Feelings and the Get Real outdoor parties that happen in Cape Town.
So you guys throw all the duff our way, hey?
Duff.
The duff. I love it. Guys, you know, you are both massive players in this industry. You both employ a lot of people. There are a lot of livelihoods relying on you. I'm going to start with you, Nick. Tell me briefly what it is you do and why you do what you do, you know, as a company. Like exactly, you know, what do you do and what is your why? Like what do people know you for Carbon?
Well, I think it's a combination of factors, Jules. I kind of took a passion for business and, you know, mixed that with creating employment opportunities with people, as well as providing those employment opportunities in the event space, and bringing together a platform that can, you know, allow people great forms of entertainment while we're turning the wheels of economy at the same time. It's been a big passion of mine. I've given 12 years to the industry, and I absolutely love it. There's nothing more rewarding than seeing the smiles on people's faces at some of our events.
That's awesome. And tell me, like, if you could guesstimate, and I'm not asking for like a hard fact, if you could guesstimate what your industry, the bar industry, what it contributes roughly to the economy, if you had to use your imagination, what would you say that would be roughly?
I'd struggle to answer on behalf of the entire industry, but
Yeah.
I can chat just for us that we've contributed hundreds of millions of rands to the economy over the last 12 years.
So we're talking billions then. If
Yes,
that's just
definitely.
if that's just one company.
And that's just us, and that's
Okay.
just me.
All right.
You know, if we add all of this together, it's going to go far into the billions.
Okay. Justin, I know you very well. We do a lot of events together. Your company is amazing. Your crew, your staff, they're so dedicated. They're such good people. And you guys have been hit, as Nick has, as we all have, exceptionally hard by this pandemic. Talk to me about how it shifted things for you, and how the last few months you've had to adjust your thinking.
Yeah, so basically a week before the lockdown,
Confusing, yeah.
A week before the lockdown, when the first announcement was made, events were first out the window. So it happened, I think, on the Sunday the president spoke, and then that Monday we just got flooded with emails, cancellations. We caught bang, bang, bang. And I mean, we lost like millions just in the initial first like 21-day period. And since then, nothing's really been happening. I mean, I think the guys and myself have all enjoyed a little bit of a break in the beginning, but I mean, at the end of the day, we had to start thinking about alternatives. So we're trying to dip our feet in the streaming side of things. I mean, as you know, and yeah, just trying to, we're doing deliveries, we're doing anything to bring in some income to keep my business to be able to pay the guys, and actually, you know, keep the ball turning until we can get back to doing what we do.
So you're talking basically just in your own stable, millions and millions and millions of rands, not only, you know, supporting staff members and supporting humans that are connected to this industry, but also just pumping that money into the economy. And we know that has an effect on everyone. It doesn't matter what you're doing. That is the fact that that's not happening. It's affecting you in some way, even if you're making furniture or running a grocery store. You know, this situation, we're all affecting each other. And obviously we're not here to say one industry is more important than another, but I think the entertainment industry, you said it, Justin, it is first in and it's going to be last out. And that is kind of a scary mindset for us. Nick, from your side, have you done anything to diversify during these times? Have you managed to figure out other ways that you can make an income stream now that you're not running bars at events anymore?
We did struggle in the beginning, Jules. It came as a big shock initially, but after some time had passed and we'd gone through the processes, we decided that we wanted to try and offer the same type of support to some of our full-time employees that they've offered to us over the years.
Yeah.
Everyone's been truly loyal, and we started a small home and office removal business, utilizing our existing assets and our existing team to help people move home and office. There's a lot of that happening at the moment. People are downscaling their homes and downscaling their workplaces.
Yeah.
And we've had a reasonable amount of success helping them with that as a part-time concern.
It's crazy though to me that this is what you guys are having to do. You know, it's wild. I'm going to just ask you briefly, because we only have time for one more question. If either of you, and I think you can both give an answer in your own words, if there's one thing that you would like to see happen now, what would that be? What do you think we need to have happen right now in order to at least, have an end thing in sight? What do each of you think?
Well, I mean, I think the best thing, and I think that's the whole reason behind the whole Light SA campaign, is to actually, for government to engage with us and actually listen to, I mean, we've got event guidelines that we put down in place, like at least listen to us, like go through, work with us, and actually starting to open up the events slowly but surely. I mean, in terms of drive-in live music event, like there just needs to be something that, like, because there's no timeline at the moment. This is like, we're not worrying about you. But I think the main thing is for government to just ready to start engaging with us. I mean, all of us artists, and to be like, listen, guys, we're willing to help you. Like, cool, let's maybe look at how we can start opening events. Cool, you got these guidelines in place. Cool, that's cool. But add this, do this, and like work together and help us and help the artists.
Rather than silence.
Yeah, because that's all we're getting at the moment.
Nick? Anything
I couldn't have said it better than what Justin said.
Okay.
We'd really love some engagement from government at this time. But just to add to that, I'd like to send a message out to everyone in the industry. I'd like to send a message out of hope. I want everyone to retain hope. I want those conversations to continue happening.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that could really help is just if the industry continues to dream. And if they continue to reach out to their suppliers and negotiate deals that could work in a risk-adjusted environment moving forward, that it will help a slow and partial reopening of the industry in a careful manner when we are allowed to go forward. So
yeah, that's really well said. I think continue to dream, but also when the events industry opens up, that the punches come flooding back. Don't be too cautious on your side. I think. That there's a danger of obviously people staying away and staying nervous. And obviously it's a pandemic. We understand it's scary, but, support, guys. Like, do what you can. Even if you're buying a ticket and not rocking up, like, you can support, you can make sure that when you do and are able and do feel safe to return to events, that there are events to actually return to. I think that's a very real possibility that there won't be events to return to, certainly some of the bigger ones. Guys, thank you so much for your time and for your contribution. And I know you both work exceptionally hard in this industry. You're both great guys, both very honest, and very proud to be associated to people like you in the industry. So thank you so much for your time. And I think we're going to chat to one of my favorite VJs up next, live on this interrupted version of the LUCKDOWN. But Inca coming up, so after this. Oh, guys, that was enlightening. I think we forget that there are so many other industries that are connected sometimes to the music industry. I know I do as a musician. I forget how many people it takes to actually create a live event. There are so many. I'm very excited to be talking to my next guest. She is one of the most phenomenal VJs. And if you don't know what a VJ is, it's basically the person who makes the beautiful visuals on the screen come to life when you're at a concert. And she's also an animator. She does various things in the industry. And I'm very excited, particularly because it's Women's Month, and she is actually, I think, the only woman that I'm interviewing. No, sorry, she's one of 2 women that I'm interviewing, which it's in itself is a thing. We need to have more women in this industry for sure. But I'm very excited to talk to her. This is Inca, everybody. Hello, Inca. How are you?
Hey there, Jules. I'm good, thanks.
Are you warm enough?
Good, yes. No, I'm
very cold.
Thanks so much.
I know we picked like the coldest night of the whole of winter to have this, but anyway.
But this is spectacular and needed to happen this way. So
it is. It looks beautiful. And and very cool that you're here. Inks, give me a brief rundown of what it is you do and who you are.
Yeah, so I've been in the industry for 20 years already. I'm a director, motion designer, and a VJ. So I play at festivals, days on end. I do the visuals, or sometimes I'm hired by a band just to produce their show visuals. And then it's something like, Black Coffee, Music is King. I'll direct the entire show and all the content, create content, but also just work with the animators. Yeah, it's huge and it's amazing. And I totally love what I do.
You are the best that I know of in the industry and so talented. And how has your industry or you been affected by this pandemic?
I mean, hugely. When the lockdown started and just how it went for the rest of the world. I mean, I had an entire year lined up of gigs, events, international, local, everything. And my year just disappeared within a couple of weeks so massively. But I'm really fortunate in the sense that I bridge with my motion design work. I do work on commercials and documentaries.
Yes.
In terms of the content creation.
Yes.
So I've really been grateful that I've been able to keep that going and also did something for the National Arts Festival. But most of the people that I work with don't have that opportunity. And when I'm in front of a house, people in this industry are doing incredible things at an event, but they only have this industry
to rely on. Okay, so talk to me about front of house. A lot of people don't even know what front of house means. Tell me, what is front of house and how does it feel like to be there? And essentially, what does it mean to be somebody who works in front of house?
It's an amazing feeling. It's really great because you're a massive team that's actually making the entire thing happen in a way. So front of house is that lovely little hut that's in the middle of the field usually.
Yeah.
And it's full of lighting engineers, sound engineers, myself, visual, special effects, everything, basically everything that keeps the show running. But for that to have been put in place, you have people that for weeks before the show even, and for the months of planning before, but for weeks before, there are people that are running cables, thousands of meters of cables and building stages and rigging and doing an incredible amount of work for us to even just be at front of house and be able to communicate with the stage and respond to the artist on stage and do what we do to make the show something seamless and fantastic for the audience.
So now on that, do you think that there is enough understanding? I'm going to ask you this question. It's quite a brazen one, I guess. But I think you guys need to hear this. Actually, if you've ever been to an event, I'd like to hear your answer on this. Do you think that there's enough understanding? Because I can really know what it's going to be. Do you think there's going to be enough understanding on that whole side of the industry from people and enough appreciation, Inks? Because we've spoken about this before. And when you go to a festival as a punter, do you think rocking up at the event, there is enough gratitude, shall we say, towards what has actually transpired to make the event happen the way it is, unfolding in front of your eyes?
I think, unfortunately, maybe not, and maybe I'm assuming too much just based on the responses of people. But I do think maybe it's a sign of how amazingly well this industry is actually run, because when people are at an event and it's seamless and it's fantastic and it goes from one high to the next and all the musicians look great and sound great, of course, people don't notice how much work is in there and put in there because the show is just amazingly received and they're having these fantastic moments while they're just there listening to their favorite music.
Yeah.
So I can understand that one is not really perceiving what kind of work gets put in there. But I think when you walk around at a festival and you see, I don't know, the food stalls or the cleaning staff or the toilets or anything that you interface with, just treat that with respect, because everyone is there to make sure that you have an amazing time, that you can just rock up and go, I can forget about my life for a little moment and live hedonistically. And that's great. Don't we all want to experience that? And at the same time, experience amazing art and the artist and the musicians able to respond to the crowd and you creating this beautiful feedback, it's special moments. So I think there is maybe not enough awareness or respect given, but I would love to see
More.
more and be corrected.
This is an opportunity.
Correct me.
No, this is an opportunity for us all to learn. You know, I
Absolutely.
certainly have learned. I mean, as an artist, I often rock up at a stage, backstage, I march onto stage, plug in my in-ears. They're not working crap on some sound guy, run off, you know, like, and behave like, to be quite honest, a bit of a bull rhino. And I do it myself. And I know that I've seen people in the crowd throwing their beer towards a cleaner and treating people with disrespect. And I think it's an opportunity. This is Light SA Red, guys. This is an industry in crisis, but maybe there's more that we can shift in our minds. There's an opportunity for us to evolve as human beings when we come back into the event space. Show a little bit more gratitude, show a little bit more respect. You will have a much, much better time. You will enjoy the event more, I feel.
Definitely, absolutely. And I think now that, you know, things are falling apart and we are busy trying to rebuild them, which is happening incredibly, how people in the industry are speaking out to each other, helping out. Everyone is just really there for each other.
Yeah.
Just take that spirit forward, you know, give everything you can to keep this thing going, and just keep building it with the right spirit and the right thing in mind.
I love that about you. I love the way you speak. Inks, if you've got any other words of wisdom as to how anyone who's watching and wants to really help Light SA Red, perhaps they've already put their profile picture red and they've done all that and they've done the hashtag, but they would like to help additionally, specifically the people that are really suffering the most. You know, like you said, there are other things you and I can do in this time, but there are people who really are on the breadline and have been without work for 5 months. Do you have any ways that you can suggest they could help?
Yeah, I think go donate to the Safe Fund, because there's already channels in place that are feeding families, that are trying to get people through this. TPSA, just get involved, donate whatever you can, because I think in this time what it has shown especially is there's always somebody that's worse off than you. No matter how much you've lost, you still have so much. Just keep on giving. I mean, what you guys have done is amazing. So just everyone get involved, just give something. And then also, I don't know, write letters to government. And after this session here, just go, hey, just listen to the guys. Listen, you know, let's all restart this, because there are internationally, there are festivals going on again. People are going out again. And if we can do this with the guidelines that have been, you know, thought of, and people have been working hard at trying to come up with solutions, just let's allow us to help ourselves, basically, and just support that.
Wonderful words, Inca. Thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thank you.
You are such a star. I love you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Inca Kenzia, she's here. Also known as the girl before. I know you sometimes the girl. You'll always be my girl. So thank you so much for being a part of this today. Light SA Red, hashtag.
Lighted red.
Up next week, we've got Keaton, aka Grimehouse, aka New Hero, coming to you live on the interrupted version of the LUCKDOWN, hashtag Light SA Red. Don't go anywhere. We're going to chat to him just after this. All right, I'm live. I'm just chatting here to Keaton on my own. Welcome back, guys. I'm going to be chatting to Keaton, aka Grimehouse, aka New Hero, up next. But before we introduce him, I'd just like to say, if you guys don't know what we're doing right here, we are interrupting the LUCKDOWN tonight. We are bringing you the Light SA Red, hashtag Light SA Red campaign live from Hillcrest Quarry. We're in the quarry. We've lit the entire quarry red behind me, and there are over 400 different buildings that have been lit up all around South Africa. iconic buildings. I believe they've lit Table Mountain. We're trying to get this movement spread as far and wide, just to tell people, to tell the public, if you've ever been to a live music concert, if you've ever engaged in anything, theatre, from theatre right through to conferences, through to live events, if you've engaged in the live space, and if you've had any kind of enjoyment from the live entertainment industry, we are in crisis, guys. 5 months. We have no answers from government. We don't know when we're going to be allowed to open up. We don't know what the parameters are, what the timelines are. And this is our cry for help across the country. So we're looking to you for support. If you don't know how to support, it's so easy. You can just be a voice. You can go out there, change your profile picture on Facebook or on Instagram, put a filter up, make a red photograph, stick that on. The more red squares we see on our pages and on our feeds, the more impact we're going to have. Go out and help us resurface this industry and get the attention of government and those in power. And speaking of the industry, and speaking of people who are multi-talented, I'm chatting to Keaton. Hello, Keaton.
How's it going?
How are you?
I'm lovely.
You're good.
Yeah.
You're not one but two acts.
I am.
Talk to me about it.
I am. I perform and produce as Grandmaster in New Hero alongside Scotty Moore.
Yes.
Who's watching now.
Hi, Scotty.
And that's basically it.
So you're a fully fledged musician. You're an original music artist.
Yes.
So you would have had, in some respect, a little bit of an advantage compared to the musicians who really have had nothing other than gigs to rely on.
Yes.
Gigs is, of course, your primary income. So talk to me about how this pandemic has impacted you as an artist over the last couple of months.
Not only financially, but in your mental headspace, it affects you quite a lot. Not only myself but other artists, because for a lot of us, one of the only things we love and the only things that make us happy is traveling and performing, and it's something we've wanted to do since we were young. So the first maybe 2 weeks of lockdown, you enjoy the holiday, and then your mind starts going a bit funny, and you start getting very sad. So not only the financial thing, but the mental thing takes a toll. So
Of course.
like other artists should remember that for our peers and stuff who might be alone in their house now thinking the same things like that, because I've spoken to a lot of artists just checking out their art and stuff, and 90% of them they're not doing so great.
Okay, that was actually going to be my next question. You know, do you feel that as artists, this has maybe pulled you a little bit closer to your community, the rest of the artist community? Is there a positive about the pandemic? Because this sounds like you guys have maybe, I mean, the fact that you're checking in on people, would you have even done that before?
I wouldn't. And I'd love I don't know if anybody else is doing it, but I'd love for more artists to do it. And I'd love for more artists to share other artists' work. We're always relying on our supporters to share our stuff, but an artist will be surprised how much of a morale boost it'll be if another artist shares their work.
Yeah.
And it helps so much for their supporters to see. And so I hope more artists are doing that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of artists aren't doing that great.
Absolutely. And, you know, you touched on artists not doing that great. I do want to talk about the live streaming space. Have you done any concerts as either of your acts up until now on the live streaming? And how did you work those? Were they ticketed? Were they just free? What was your model for those live streaming concerts?
We did 2 concerts with Tecx, actually.
Yes.
Who were I would say the leaders in production in Cape Town. So we hit them up and we did some of them for tickets. And we got some good support, luckily. Still not as much as we would hope to be, but I think it's been maybe oversaturated with.
You see, this is I'm wanting to pull this out of you because I actually want to have a little bit of a rant about it, actually. You know, I think people are asking, what can we do now, guys, as members of the public? How can we help? I think you need to start by actually looking at yourself. You know, there's so many artists out there that have tried ticketed live streams and are not terrified to do it because they're so scared that they won't sell enough tickets. Because to be quite frank with you, it's been difficult for artists as big as the biggest Good Lucks and Kurt Darrens and you know, massive artists right through to the smaller up and coming guys. The ticket sales have happened, but really marginally compared to what happens, the support we get in a real physical live environment. And I think it's something that you actually need to shift your mindset to. For the price of a hamburger, guys, you can support the artists. And it's not even about the money. You'll agree with me. It is about, it's the validation. Like every time you sell 10 tickets, you have no idea how much of an impact that makes for the artist to receive that validation of their art and their performance. So I think if you're asking yourself how you can change and what you can do right now, you can buy streaming concert tickets that are happening. Don't just stream for free. Don't go and then go watch Netflix 5 minutes later. Do you know like how many hours of love and heart and passion have gone into that moment that you're watching live right there on your screen? It's a beautiful honor. You know, support it. Don't you agree? Love it.
Yeah, and the financial burden sits on the artists now because they're starting to take a risk on streaming and stuff because they have to pay for the production.
Yeah.
They will hopefully want to make money for their fellow artists that they book to perform alongside them if they're doing a big thing.
Absolutely.
So yeah, there's a lot more risk and a lot more at stake now for the artists more than ever. So I can guarantee you an artist will be happy putting on a show.
He said it. He said it, guys, and that's not right. How can we expect the artists of South Africa and of the world to live like that in the next unforeseeable amount of months? I honestly, I urge you guys all, you know, put things into perspective. Somebody told me a story, which is going to come out a little bit later, about somebody who went and bought a pair of jeans, and then they realized they'd spent 800 out of the jeans. They got home and they decided on the drive home they were going to turn the jeans regardless of how they looked, because they decided that they would actually rather spend that money buying a future concert ticket and knowing they had that money in the bag so they could support that festival. So that's the kind of thing we need, don't you think?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. 100%.
On a creative level, though, have you found that you know, you say you've had all kinds of mental, emotional roller coaster rides that you've been on? I think we've all been on, and not just in the music industry. A lot of people have just been on ups and downs. Have you managed to break through and still be creative, or has it been a blockage for you? Like,
it's been creative, luckily enough for me. I don't know if it might be different for other people. What about you? Have you been creative?
I think I've just been too busy. No, okay. I know I have been creative, but it's also been you know, we're putting out fires all the time.
Yeah.
And we really are trying to figure out ways to make an income and to figure out ways that we can make an income in the next few months.
Yeah.
And of course, putting bread on the table in anyone's life does take priority.
Indeed.
But when you carve out space for music, I think because we have so much like pent up angst, it's all coming out in a really beautiful way.
Yeah. And you also don't even know, a lot of the times we make music by being inspired by being in a nightclub or being at a festival, hearing somebody else's music. You see a great artist perform. You as an artist just want to go home and go start making music again out of inspiration.
Absolutely.
We don't know where to get inspiration from now. We're just locked up in a house. So
I hear
whether
you.
it's good creativity or bad, I don't know. We'll never know until the time comes.
This question for an up and coming artist who's starting out. Now, I am asking you this question, Nikki. I'm asking you to use your imagination because it's quite a tough question. But for somebody who started a few months before the pandemic, just imagine what that must be like. You've just started out and you're like excited about your career. You started making music, or you started just putting a little band together, or whatever it is that you've done. What message of hope can you give those artists that are like have been slammed into this completely crazy reality right now?
On the positive, I would say that when this eventually turns around, and it eventually will, we don't have a timeline. I think everything's going to be a blank slate again, and even the biggest artists are going to have to start from the ground up again. So we're all on the same playing field. Use this time to, if you're making music, get your sampler and sampler stuff sorted, because that is not an easy mission.
Listen to the man.
Work on your craft. Think about your brand. Do all the stuff that you wouldn't usually have time for. And just remember that everybody's going to start at the same level when we come back. So there's no excuses. You can't complain about the same lineups, the same artists and the same lineups here and there and everywhere. I think everything's going to be a blank slate.
I agree. I'm really excited for that. So use the opportunity. Keaton, thank you so much for joining us here.
Thank you for doing this. You should have your own talk show.
Well, like I kind of do on a Wednesday, but it's just very new.
You know how somebody is born to be a presenter when they talking, that's watching in the car because it's so cold.
Yeah.
And everything you say, the captions are on, but it gets your words like 100%.
Oh wow!
But
okay, so I'm very good pronunciation.
Exactly.
Okay. Oh, thank you. Well, that's cool to know. Keaton, you've been such a star, and we love your music. And long may you continue to live, prosper, entertain, and bring joy to people's lives.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. And up next, we have got a recorded interview with Delia Sainsbury. She is the owner of the Waterford Theatre School, a complete legend in Cape Town. I'm sure a lot of you, either went to the Waterfront Theatre School, like me when I was in high school, or you know of it. We're talking to her about the theatre industry. The music industry is not the only event industry that's been affected by this. The live theatre industry has also. So this is me chatting to Delia Sainsbury live on the interrupted version, hashtag Light SA Red of the Lockdown. Hello, Delia. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Light SA Red,
Well,
how are you?
asking me. I'm great. Thank you very much.
Good, good, good. Listen, so obviously this has affected everybody, this COVID-19 situation. But for you personally and your school, how have you felt of what's been going on?
Gosh, I know we've got about 10 minutes. I probably need about 10 hours. Well, first of all, we've got such a diversity of students. It's been very difficult to give them the platform for actually streaming all the classes. Because, I mean, we've got kids from shacks in Guguletu to people that live in Bishop's Court and people that are all over the country and overseas. So the diversity of platforms that we've all had to use, which have all been very new to us, I mean, we've never done anything like this before either, has been very, very difficult. And now we're back. We can only have 33% of the students on campus at any one time, which means that it's like a conveyor belt system. And the staff are working extraordinarily long hours to make sure that the kids are getting all their classes. So it's been very tough, big learning curve.
Yeah, I'm sure. I can totally imagine. And obviously you're very close to and have been involved very closely with the theatre industry of South Africa and on a professional level. You know, how have you heard how actors, theatre performers have been impacted? And have you heard of any measures or any creative ideas that they've tried to take to lessen the impact and what's been going on for them?
Well, I think the first thing that happened was the cancellations. I know my daughter Jenna was in a play at the Fugard, which was a nice long run, and that was immediately cancelled. And what it seems to have been happening is that there's been very little, if any, compensation for people with cancelled contracts. You know, there was supposed to be all this money out there that was going to be helping people, but I know so many people, the majority of whom have applied for funding and they've received nothing. First of all, the shows they were just told it was postponed, which meant that they couldn't claim anything. And then, of course, most freelance people don't pay UIF, which means that they are not entitled to unemployment fund once they're out of work. I mean, my partner is a director of photography, and although they all pay tax, they don't pay UIF. So when these contracts are cancelled, I mean, I know people that haven't had money, literally have not worked and have not had money since March, which is why, you know, platforms such as yourself and Waiting in the Wings and the Theatre Benevolent Fund and these people, I mean, you are fulfilling a need which, I mean, actually, their people don't have food to put on the table. They've moved out of their flats. They've had to move in with friends or move in with family. I mean, it's been bad. It's been really bad for the.
I mean, it's really amazing coming from you, because you obviously connected with so many, especially young theatre performers, fresh out of the school, who obviously are starting out. And I think I feel the most kind of desperate for them, because it's the beginning of their career. It's supposed to be full of promise, hope, excitement, and now they're facing this very challenging, almost insurmountable situation. If you were to speak to any of your graduate students or anyone that is in the same situation, what advice would you have any advice to give them, or would you just be like, sort of ride the wave, grab your surfboard and ride the wave? What advice would you give to anyone right now who's facing this?
One thing about theatre school is we recreated, if you like, the triple threat. Instead of it being just singing, dancing and acting, we redefined it to being perform, teach, create. And one thing that I will be able to say is that the people that leave us are, generally speaking, qualified teachers of dance or drama, and they've been able to support themselves by doing classes online, and also the whole creative aspect. And what we did for the first time, we've never done it before, was we have a project called Devise Projects, where the students divide themselves into groups. And this year we had 11 groups who created their own short films. Now, we don't deal with film at theatre school. that we do now. And
Wow.
we realized that that was the way that it was going, because the film industry and TV commercials and also a lot of stuff being done online, that opened up first. So our students were actually quite on it. And a lot of them have found work by being very entrepreneurial. So, you know, that's the best advice I can give. You've got to see what's happening with the world, see what's happening with the time you're living in. Don't be a dinosaur. And I mean, that applies to me at my age. Don't be a dinosaur. See where it's going and go there. So we're having to wait for the industry to open up. A lot of them have been able to support themselves, of my graduates, my young graduates, but then also understand they don't have the overheads to worry about, that someone in the industry who's been in the industry 5-10 years has got to worry about. They haven't got mortgages, they haven't got husbands, wives, families, children. They're young, they're fresh out of school. So in actual fact, they can probably survive better than a lot of people that have been in the industry for all this time.
Absolutely. And Delia, from your side, are there any conversations that you're having at maybe a governmental level? Or, I mean, I know that the organizations that are having those conversations, I'm not expecting you to be having them, but have you heard anything? Just, you know, any indication of maybe when, or if there's a plan, or are you still completely in the dark and sitting and waiting like the rest of us?
No, we're completely in the dark and waiting like the rest of you. The thing is that they opened the theatres to a restrictive number of 50 people, which is absolutely ridiculous, because I mean that means you can't do any major show. You could do a one-hander, two-hander with maybe, you know, one person backstage and 45 people in the audience. That's not going to sustain anybody. And then of course we have the curfew. So even if you open a theatre, a show starts at 8 o'clock in the evening. If you're going to do a musical and you're fortunate enough to find some way of producing a bigger show, if everyone's got to be home first by 9 o'clock, that put the kibosh on that. And then it's extended to 10 o'clock. Well, that's still useless to anybody in the industry. So, I mean, the theatres are the hardest hit. I mean, as you know, the West End, most of them are opening until mid-2021. And as you know, the Fugard is closed with no future. I mean, that's the first one to have actually closed, which is devastating.
It's massive. I mean, it is the. I mean, the last 3 or 4 plays I've been to have been at the Fugard. It's a you know, it's a very established.
Oh,
it's wonderful. Yeah.
And the level of their work is out of this world. I mean, they're iconic, and for the fact that they've done so much for the communities as well. And have it closed like this. No, I mean, look, it's devastating. And I mean, I'm not being pessimistic, but in the theatre industry, there is no light at the end of the tunnel at the moment. I do know that Theatre Productions is starting a tour next year, an international tour, fairly early on in the year. I think there are certain theatres overseas which are opening. You see, it depends on what's happening internationally. If the theatres are in certain places in the world, like Asia, Korea, maybe Australia, there's a lot of our tours that do these amazing tours of 1-2 years going overseas. And once that opens up, they'll be able to do the international tours. Plus the resorts. I've got a lot of kids working in the Disney resorts and the cruise lines. You know, the work opportunities are very, very vast. It's a very big field. So it just depends on what's opening up internationally. But locally, I mean, we're in the dark every day. I mean, they change their mind more often than you change knickers. So I mean, we don't know what's happening from day to day, do we?
Yeah, it's very, and I think a lot of people out there, obviously, today we focus on the entertainment industry, but there's obviously a very much a hashtag Me Too situation. So many industries have been affected, but to all those people out there who are maybe managing to navigate this slightly easier than the entertainment industry, because we all agree that you can't deny it's probably been one of, if not the hardest hit industry out of this thing. What message would you give the South African public on, supporting the arts, moving out of this, and just being very conscious of that?
Well, all I can say is that I was in London during the IRA bombings, and I was in 2 productions which closed in the West End. And at that particular time, we were told, oh, the West End's dead. No one's going to come back to the West End. As soon as everything died down, everybody came rushing back to the West End. And I honestly, people are being pessimistic and going, oh, people are out of the habit of going to restaurants. They're out of the habit of going to the theatre. Yeah, we are out of the habit. But I think that when this eases, everyone's going to come rushing back. And I urge them to rush back. We need our industry. A country without a symphony orchestra and a ballet and theatre and plays is a very poor society indeed. And I mean, after all, they're saying that we're non-essential. What are we all doing? We're all watching Netflix, So we all need payment. I think we're very essential. Support the arts. Get back as soon as you can.
Dina, thank you for your time, and thank you for all the incredible work you've done for this country and for young people. Navigating this space. It's wonderful what you're doing, and I hope that you come out of this stronger and more fighting fit. And thank you very much for being a part of Light SA Radio. Guys, we had this amazing live stream plan for you. It's starting to come down with rain, and we've got camera equipment out in the rain. I've got Craig Lucas here. Craig, just say hi, everyone, quickly.
Hey, hello.
So we're going to cut the stream in about 2 seconds, but I just want to quickly ask you 2 questions. What does the lockdown look like for you, my dear?
It's been really tough. I think as somebody who suffers from like depression and anxiety, everything that's happened now has just made everything like twice as worse.
Yeah.
I've not really worked. I usually find joy through performing and through music, and so that's been taken away from me. And I think the added financial pressure that the lockdowns brought has just made things really horrible.
Yeah.
To be honest.
And I love how honest you are, and I really just love how open you are. Do you feel like this has been handled correctly by government? Have you received any funding, from your side?
Absolutely not. I've been really disappointed. I even feel like a little hurt. I've applied twice. I've not received any money. As artists, we're always the first ones there when there are charity shows. People are always asking us to do us a favor, and we do that happily. And I feel very left behind.
Yeah.
So it's been quite sad. Yeah.
I feel you. And listen quickly, because the rain is going to come down and we don't want to be stuck out here in the quarry without any protection. There's just this one other question I wanted to ask you. If the rain's kind of stopping, so we can carry on for a little while. Okay. What support do you think fans can give to artists at this time?
I think that everybody's starting to do these virtual shows. I think by just purchasing a ticket, by streaming our music, purchasing music legally. We did a virtual concert just last week, and tickets were only 65 Rand. And people still complain, there was a section of the show that buffered, and everyone's like, oh, we want the money back. And it was a bit of a bummer, because we charging half of what we usually do. We have to work twice as hard. So I just think having a little patience with us, this is all new for us. We're all trying to figure out how to navigate this new.
Dude, we've had to learn to be TV producers literally overnight, and I think people sometimes forget that and don't respect that.
So yeah, just some patience with us and to support us twice as hard, because this is very difficult. We've not been working for 5 months.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I completely feel you. Guys, this hashtag Light SA Red movement is a movement that is happening all over South Africa. We're lighting over 400 buildings, and we're just trying to get focus. Just focus on the fact that the arts and events and entertainment industry is in crisis. It's not about the artists. It's about the technicians, about the teenagers, about the crew. And guys, as luck would have it, we are being rained upon a little bit. We're gonna cut to the interview that we pre-recorded. We're gonna try see if the rain can come and go. If not, we'll see how we go. But right now, this is me chatting, and we're gonna say goodbye to Craig. Craig, we love you.
Thank you.
I wish we could have chatted longer, but we're gonna get soaked.
So we are.
This is Stu Berry, the organizer of Splashy Fen Festival, live here chatting to you guys on this interrupted version, Light SA Red of the Lockdown. Love it. It's very cool. Okay, cool. Nick's going to hit record and I'm just going to start. We're going to go. You ready?
I'm always ready.
Okay. Hey, Stu Berry. Thank you so much for your time today. How are you?
Hi, Jules. Thank you very much. Good to be here. And you're looking nice and red.
You're looking nice and red too. I love the sporting red tops. Beautiful. In the spirits of the movement. So, Stu, last time we spoke on the lockdown, it was early doors. We were talking about you and your situation with Splashy Fen. For those of you who don't know, Stu Berry is the festival director and organizer and owner of Splashy Fen, amongst the myriad of other live events that take place in KZN predominantly. Stu, you just made the decision to kind of postpone Splashy. Now, unfortunately, you've had to explain that you had to cancel it because of the situation in South Africa and the world right now. Stu, how bad is it getting on that side for you? Talk to me about what is the impact looking like at the moment for your industry.
Yeah, Jules, it's obviously significant, and I think the biggest thing, South Africans are hustlers. If we've got timelines to plan to, if we've got dates to work towards, and if we've got some kind of clarity, then it becomes easier to work through this thing. And I think the hardest thing at the moment is we have no idea whether Splashy Fen 2021 will take place. We have no idea whether Splashy Fen 2022 will take place. We have no idea what kind of timelines we're looking at in terms of gatherings of up to 500 people, 1,000 people, 2,000 people. And for us, it's not just Splashy Fen. Yes, that's 10,000 people, but we do the Music at the Lake series, which is, sort of 3,000-4,000 people. So I think the hardest thing for our industry is you can plan in tough times when you've got some kind of facts and some kind of detail to plan towards. And I think the hardest thing for us is certainly the fact that there is no clarity whatsoever for us. And obviously that just becomes a knock-on effect to everyone. People are liquidating. People are laying off staff purely because there's no kind of clarity and no kind of timeline in place.
Yeah, I hear you. And I mean, how deep does this run for you? Like, I mean, are you in touch with some of your suppliers? Have you had feedback from their side? What has the mood on the been like for not just you and your direct employees, but also some of the suppliers that you're working with?
No, it's tough, and I think that's one of our biggest problems here is, as a company, it's not just about making sure you last, but it's about making sure that everyone else in your supply chain and your network lasts. And I know, for instance, one of the toilet companies we work with, who've been a wonderful service provider for us, they've already closed their doors, liquidated, sold off all their stuff. Many of the tech companies that we work with, they've had to sell off a lot of equipment. So our big challenge here is when we do come right, and obviously we will come right, and there's a huge amount of positivity and excitement around when that day does come. But I suppose the big question is how much of the industry is left, because I can come up with ideas, I can implement ideas, I can put some wonderful sort of events together and concepts together, but without the right partners, that becomes a big issue. And I think the second thing, outside of just service providers, big thing for the events industry is sponsorships. And the hardest thing I think for us from a sponsorship perspective is we don't know where sponsors are going to be, even more so the alcohol brands. And that's obviously a huge worry for us.
Absolutely, Stu. You bring up that the web of how this affects people and who this affects is so incredibly large. And I think also just the general public, part of the reason that we're doing this Light is Red is for them to actually appreciate and realize how much more goes into that party that you're going to go watch your favorite band or see your favorite play or go to a conference. How many people are behind the scenes it actually takes to make that happen, and how many people's livelihoods are therefore being affected right now? It's not just the band that you see on stage and one or two others. There are a lot of people that, I mean, I don't want to say they're disregarded, but there may be people don't realize many people are actually involved and are actually now being affected. Stu, if you had a message to the public, just to say to them, if there's any message you would love to give the public moving out of COVID-19, or even now when we are in a situation where, there's not much that can be done, what message would you like to give the public in terms of support and what they can do to help?
I think the biggest thing is, we all accept that we need human interaction, we need human connection. Digital concerts have gone relatively well, virtual concerts, but they're definitely not the same as the real thing. And
sure,
I think we all get that we're in a horrible situation at the moment. I understand the regulations that are in place. I think at some stage government have got to trust society to make sure that they operate things within health and safety guidelines, and hopefully we can get there quite soon in terms of opening up events. But the biggest thing I think is, as an industry, we've put on some wonderful, memorable moments to clients, fans over the years. And I would hope that this particular period has made our fans realize how important those moments are in terms of their emotional well-being, in terms of their family's emotional well-being, and just their ability to connect with not only family but friends. And we require these moments. We require those moments in music. We require those moments in poetry, in theatre, in stage, in lighting, in sound, in basically the whole live industry. And when we come back, it's going to be good. We are going to put on good shows again because we're a good, ethical, and trustworthy industry. And I think the important part is for people to support it, number one, when we do come back, because the last thing the industry can afford is coming back, getting no support from anyone, and then going into further debt. But secondly, I think on top of that is to make sure that they're part of a movement amongst their friends, family, and close circles to make sure that the live entertainment industry is supported going forward so they can become ambassadors for the industry as a whole.
That's really well said, and I completely agree. I think today we start by encouraging everybody who's watching to make a noise on social media. You know, there's been a lot of focus on the tourism industry, a lot of focus on the restaurant industry, both very critical industries to the well-being and functioning of our country and our mental, emotional well-being as people, but also the live music and event space is another one, you know. And so we're here to say, guys, if you've ever enjoyed a live music experience, if you've ever had a memory, like Stu said, if you've ever had some sort of cathartic, enlightening moment at a concert, you owe it to that industry, to our industry, to help us make noise and create a presence. So right now, what you can do, go and change your profile picture, make it a red square, put a red filter on, go do a post on Instagram, do a post on your stories, #LightSARed, tell your friends, tell your family. Right now, we just need to make a groundswell so that government can pay attention and start listening to us, because people like Stu, people like TERS, people like TPSA, they're ready to have these conversations. Plans have been developed to reopen the event industry safely, but it is falling on deaf ears. So the more we can speak out, the more they will listen, hopefully. So we need you guys.
And Jules, there's only one more thing that I would add then. So nicely the other day when I engaged with them about buying tickets in the future. And they went to a retail store the other day and they bought a pair of jeans for 850 Rand. And they went home, they hadn't opened the package yet, and they decided to go back and return it for a refund. And their thought process was they went home, they saw Splashy Fen had been cancelled, a Splashy Fen ticket is 650, 700 Rand, and they sat down and said, you know what, my life is so much more about experience and memories now than it is about buying material stuff. And that person went back to the retail store, returned the jeans, took the money back and stuck it into a little piggy bank so that when Splashy Fen tickets open again, they know that they're guaranteed of a ticket. And that's the kind of mentality that I think we need society to be adopting here is, are we interested in material things such as clothes, or are we prepared to shop one item less a month of clothing to be able to attend and support artists and live music industry?
Absolutely, I couldn't agree with you more. So, Stu, thank you so much for your time today, and long may Splashy Fen continue to thrive and continue to be supported. I'm very proud of you. I think it's going to be one of the biggest, if not the biggest and best festival in South Africa. And I just really, really hope that your team can get through this next touch and stay strong. From me and from the crew and from everyone here with LUCKDOWN, thank you for everything that you do and contribute towards the industry.
Cheers, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you. Awesome. Thanks. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Me chatting to Stu Berry from Splashy Fen. He's the organizer of Splashy Fen Festival. What a legend. We obviously had to vacate our little island in the Hillcrest Quarry because the rain has come down and everyone's scrambling here. All the techs are scrambling here to try and make sure that we can get all the equipment out of the rain safely. So we are going to be, hello everybody, I'm back. We are going to be just resetting up here, and while we reset up, we're going to play you guys an interview. I spoke to Sharif Baker from TPSA, and he is the chairperson and very, very involved in this #LightSARed campaign. He has a lot of knowledge, is working closely with government. So without further ado, speaking to the man himself, this is Sharif Baker. Guys, I'm chatting to Sharif Baker today, who is spearheading this entire movement for LightSARed. Obviously, a big movement today. It's been all about LightSARed and shining a spotlight on the crisis that the art and entertainment industry, the live industry, is in. And so, chatting to me and to tell me all about it, welcome, Sharif. Nice to have you on the LUCKDOWN, the special edition.
Thank you, Jules. I appreciate you having me, and I love what you've done with the studio. I love it being in red, so thank you very much.
Thank you. We were just celebrating the theme here. Sharif, for those of us who are watching who are still not sure what the whole movement is about, can you explain to everyone watching here tonight what it is? LightSARed, what are we doing? What are we trying to achieve here with this campaign?
So, Jules, I'm the chairperson of the Technical Production Services Association of South Africa, which fits under the umbrella of the professional body, which is SACIA. And we have, for the last couple of months, been engaged or trying to engage with government so that we can discuss a way forward of how we can reopen events and get us kickstarted during or post COVID-19. Unfortunately, to date, all our requests have fallen on deaf ears. So we have now opted to go a little bit different, and we call it symbolic resistance by virtue of putting on lights SA red.
Incredible. So the message is just to get the message out, really, at this point, to shine a massive spotlight on what's going on, to say we are also in crisis. It's not just the restaurant industry, it's not just tourism. Here is the live industry and all the services that feed off that industry that are also in crisis. And just share with us a little bit from your side, you know, having worked in this industry, how many people you think are actually being affected just by virtue of the live industry being in such a bad situation right now?
Well, you said the right thing. We are not alone as a live events industry. It's all the components that go with it, whether it be business events, exhibitions, conferences, down to catering, makeup, the whole bang lot, TV, film. And if you put all of that together, you're probably looking about 1 million people that's out of work. And then put their families on top of it, you're looking at about 3-4 million people that's out of work, but never mind out of work, unable to put a morsel of food on their tables.
It's a very scary situation. Now, tell me, in terms of this movement and what we're trying to do to shake up those who are not listening, like you said, it's falling on deaf ears. What would be the ultimate goal in terms of this organization, and what is the feedback you would love to receive from government at this point?
So light SA red, the reason why we went red because it's the international color of distress and emergency. And we find ourselves in an emergency, and we want government to see this as an emergency so that we could sit down around the table and discuss the challenges that we are in so that we can work with government and not against government. We're brutally aware that under the Disaster Act, protests are illegal, thus us doing the symbolic resistance. And once we're seated around that table, there's a couple of things we'd like to bring to the forefront. Number one, we would like a little bit of financial aid or relief, not money in our pockets. We're asking for them to look after some of our feeding schemes, like Feed Our Crew or SAFE, so that our patrons or our technicians and our freelancers can at least put some food on the table. Secondly, we would like government to investigate the possibility of extending the TERS or UIF facility for the simple reason, when they went under lockdown, they made mention that our industry will probably only go back down under level 1, and we don't know when level 1 is going to be. So can we get some further assistance with TERS or UIF? And then thirdly, most importantly, is to sit down and engage. A couple of months ago, government asked all sectors of industry to put together a comprehensive reopening guideline for the industry, and we took that initiative and created a very comprehensive document which was ratified by the Department of Health. It now sits with the Department of Labour, I apologize. It now sits with the Department of Health. Now, our industry, you will know, Jules, you can't open an event unless you have got permission from the city, permission from SAPS, structural engineer certificate, and various certificates before you can even have an event. So we took that and aligned it with the Event Safety Alliance of Europe and America and complied with COVID-19 protocols. Now, we put that document together, and to prove our point, we create a proof of concept event where we showed under the lockdown law of 50 people at a conference or at a meeting how the guidelines can work. And these guidelines can work from anywhere from 50 people all the way up to 500 people. And that's something that we want to present to government to show that we are capable of reopening our industry under, yes, strict conditions, but we are capable. And we want that opportunity to explain it to government. But they're just not listening. They're just not even saying, okay, Sharif, let's have a glass of water together. It's just not happening.
Yeah, I know. It's scary. I mean, I know this is probably a question that you can't really answer, but I'm going to ask you anyway. What do you think is preventing the government from having this discussion right now with people like yourselves, with organizations like TERS? You know, what is preventing the government, in your opinion, from actually just engaging with you right now?
Honestly, arrogance and ignorance. Sorry, I'm calling it a spade, because under our own custodian Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, the very least could have been some form of engagement. For him to even turn around and say, you know what, we're not interested in this part of the industry, we're worrying. Just not listening. They're just not listening. They're just not even saying, okay, Sharif, let's have a glass of water together. It's just not happening.
Yeah, I know. It's scary. I mean, I know this is probably a question that you can't really answer, but I'm going to ask you anyway. What do you think is preventing the government? Sorry, we're having a few technical errors there, guys. That's all going down here. The lockdown interrupted. We literally had to move the entire set from the middle of the quarry into somewhere protected from the rain. Thank you so much for your patience. This is a testament to how technical crews are incredible in a crisis situation. They jump right in, they make things happen, they make things and fix things. You know, without them, we are nothing. And joining me is another artist who I think knows that very much. We were just trying to get through the questions really fast before the rain hit us. This is Craig Lucas, everybody.
Hey,
how are you?
I'm good.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah.
I'm glad we missed the rain shower. Craig, so when we were talking, we were discussing your stream and we were discussing all the ways that you as an artist have managed to kind of figure out, navigate this whole lockdown pandemic situation. And obviously you've been, like everyone, very affected. But you have managed to think outside the box. You have put together a few streaming concerts, but they haven't been without their difficulties, right?
Yeah.
Talk to me about the most recent concert and be honest with your experience, how it all flowed. I just want to get a little bit more in depth into that.
Yeah, so I had my first online concert and obviously put like a lot of planning and hard work into it. And within the first 10 minutes, the streaming started messing up. The internet, something happened with the internet.
Yeah.
And everyone's first reaction was to be really angry. So in the comments, everyone was like, oh, we want our money back and this is nonsense. And it was a little irritating because, like, one, we really are trying our best to work around what's happening. So I think people just need to have a little bit of patience with us. We don't do this. We don't make television. We perform. So now we've got to fill all these other roles.
So I'm going to go, you're so polite, you're like a little bit patient. I'm going to go right out there and just say, I think people need to actually check their attitudes and check less attitude, more gratitude. You guys have no idea the pressure that artists are putting themselves under right now. People are, this is a space that none of us even foresaw that we would have to navigate. And we've had to learn how to be live streaming technical specialists overnight.
And we've got to work within the parameters that we've got. Like
the fact that we can even do a live show is amazing. You know, just be grateful and just sit there and go, you know what, Craig, don't worry, we got you. We can wait another 10 minutes and we'll be here in half an hour drinking our wine and you carry on, man.
Absolutely.
Don't you think?
Definitely. It's been a little disappointing. You know, like as artists, we're always there for the it has been crap. We're always there for like good times. That's what we do. We make people happy. And I think now that we're struggling, I just feel a little like left behind. To be honest.
Guys, you know, Craig said it earlier as well, and Inca, a bunch of other people that we've had on the show. When it comes to a crisis situation, artists are the first people to jump in to help. You've been incredible with your charity work. Recently, you've taken a woman off the street and you've made her into the star, and you've helped her realize her dream of being a musician. Like, these are the kinds of things that artists are doing, you know. And without the support of our fans and our public, without the love and without the respect, we can't continue to be expected to continue to do this, you know, with all our hearts, with all our love and all our passion.
This isn't just a hobby. Like, we obviously love what we do, but this is our job. This is our work. We don't have anything else.
So buy the ticket, guys, and don't complain if it doesn't work. Just be cool, you know.
In fact, buy like 10 tickets.
10 tickets, you know. do whatever you can. Like I said it earlier, you know. I said for an artist that is doing a stream, every ticket, you know, you guys don't understand how hard it is. Like, every ticket that we sell or don't sell, we take it personally.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it is a really, really difficult thing to swallow when you've put a lot of love and soul into a live stream and you've only sold 50 tickets.
Yeah,
It
definitely.
is hard, you know, like, and there are artists out there who are not even selling 10 tickets for 50 rand.
Yeah.
You know, like this can't be happening right now, guys. We need to create a culture of supporting the arts, because when you support us, you're supporting the whole industry. I mean, just for our Get Lucky live streams, we employ about 12 people on set.
Yeah.
You probably had a bunch of people.
I'm sure we had at least like 20 technical people on our show.
Incredible.
Yeah.
You know, that's a job. That's at the end of the day, contributing to everyone's rent, helping families.
Yeah.
And that comes down to the very top of the food chain, which is ticket buyers, essentially. Okay, so okay, cool. We've had enough crapping on the audience. We love you guys, we really do, but we just need you right now to help us out in these crazy times. You know, from your side, like obviously you've been doing the streaming thing, and you know it's never going to replace live shows.
Yeah.
But have you learned any lessons about yourself in this time? You know, and moving out of this and into the new space of being able to perform again, are there any valuable lessons that you're going to take forward with you?
I think it's just to like value like what we had. I think I took it for granted a little. I've worked really hard now. I think I've proven to myself that I'm able to work harder than I like ever have. So that's there, and I'm hoping to take that to when things go back to normal. So like to come back twice is good. Because I feel like this has sort of forced me to think about a lot of things and just start planning the future and get out of the. I was in a very comfortable space.
Yeah.
So now I feel like I just want to get back and actually show people what I can do, and I've proven that I can because I've worked really hard now because I've been forced to.
You're doing some incredible stuff. I mean, I've seen you everywhere with new music out.
Yes.
You are just rocking it, and you've come forward with your heart in your sleeve. I think out of all the artists that I know, what I really love and respect about you is that you know you are very vocal about the downs as much as you are about the ups.
Yeah.
You don't pretend that this is a beautiful, glamorous industry that's all roses and no thorns.
It isn't.
It isn't. But there are
Yeah.
a lot of people that hide their pain,
Yeah.
and you have not hidden your pain. And I think a lot of people have been drawn to you because of that. So I just want to say, keep on just being real, man, and keep on being you. And you, I mean, I met Craig on The Voice. And I was actually giving a workshop on songwriting, and I noticed you straight away. You had the most remarkable amount of natural talent that just flowed for you. And I'm so glad that you won that. And I'm even more glad because that's just one thing, one tick of a box. I'm more glad that you've managed to have a successful career post that competition,
Thank you.
know, and I'm so proud of you. And we're doing some stuff together too,
We are,
by the way. But Craig, thank you so much for joining us and for waiting out here in the cold and surviving the rain.
Thank you for having me.
Are there any last words you want to say to any artist out there? You know, anything you want to say?
I guess just to keep pushing. Like, I feel like nobody's really been there for us. I think as artists, we can only be for ourselves and for each other now, and I think we should do that. If you see somebody's having a show, even if it's not you, like promote it. If somebody drops new music, put it out. I think we've got to be there for each other more than ever now.
Yeah.
And it's been happening, and it's been making me really happy.
Oh, I love you. Such a dude. Okay, thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, we've just gotten out a few interviews of some other people in the industry who have contributed. This is another obviously phenomenal artist, ladies and gentlemen, on this interrupted version of the lockdown. Make some noise in your bedrooms wherever you are for Craig Lucas.
Thank you.
Thank you, darling.
Cool.
Well, this is nice. I'm getting to interview Sven live on the interrupted version, Light SA Red, hashtag Light SA Red of the lockdown. Sven, hello.
Hello.
And I'm going to tell you guys why this is special for me because Sven has worked with us on our very own Get Lucky Summer Productions. They obviously are our big events that we put on. A lot of stress, a lot of love, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, as you know. A lot of high intensity on those sets, and you've always coped with the pressure really well. Sven, you are a a production manager, you work on site, you run around, you do all kinds of. Just talk to me about what it is exactly that you do, and you obviously are freelance in this field.
Yeah, basically, I'm a production manager freelance, and when it comes to a festival or show, I take the client's demands and I put them into perspective that they're what they want with the suppliers, and basically just run around for them and make it work.
Make it all happen.
Yeah.
Make it all happen. Talk to me about some of the shows you've worked on so that people can get a sense.
Well, yeah, obviously we've done, with the cells, Get Lucky Summer. We've done multiple shows with Get Real and Mixed Feelings. Other shows such as Rock the Daisies and Want to Wales and Cape Epic with other companies. And just
you guys are busy. Normally you are very busy. Okay.
Normally,
so I mean,
yeah.
it goes without saying this pandemic has impacted you and your industry exceptionally hard. Yeah, it has. Okay, and you, I mean, I always say you've literally gone from being exceptionally busy to exceptionally unbusy.
It was a dead stop from March. From the end of March, it was a dead stop, and we literally didn't know where to go. All of us obviously didn't know where to go, what to do, and with 2020, how that idea was to go forward in March, April, May, have all these projections, and it just was cut right there and then. And yeah, we just couldn't go forward.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Yeah.
and I Sven, you're on the ground, like personally, you've obviously been affected hugely. I don't know what your immediate sort of social circles are like, and whether you've managed to get support from your family, because I know you with our work entirely. Have you managed to be okay? But more importantly, the guys that you work with, because you would have been dealing with lots of freelancers. Have you heard some stories?
Yes, so it's all about where you stand. I've kind of been thinking about where you kind of stand in the pool.
Yeah.
We're all in the same pool, and depending if you're on the high level, the lower level, if you're almost drowning, basically, some of us are fortunate to be standing above the waterline, and a lot of others are almost basically drowning. It's a tough situation, but it's where it stands, and it hasn't been easy. And a lot of the crew that we've had going forward, what we've had before, they're gonna now go into other opportunities where it suits them in this time.
So we're going to be losing a lot of good people to out of necessity, not out of love, because they obviously love what they do.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they were here. That's why they struggled so many times, so many hours doing the things they did. And now they have to go other options because it's just obviously because of the pandemic. And,
that's hectic to hear, and terrifying for somebody like me as an artist, because I know how much we rely on good people and we rely on people with skill.
Exactly. Yeah.
But if there is no opportunity, what do we expect? And if there's no support from government, what do we expect?
That's the biggest call right now.
Yeah.
Is to get that support from government, and just to allow our trustworthy people and our employees to be with us to go forward. To keep on doing the great shows, and to keep in, actually I wanted to say, was to keep in unison, to stay in a tight community, not to have a house split and have others to come in to maybe make a bit of a change.
Oh, that's beautiful. And Sven, what is your hope? What would you like to see unfold soon? I mean, in terms of, what is your hope for the next few weeks?
Well, I've been having a bit of thought about it. I think in the next few weeks, it's been tough, the last few months, going from straight hard lockdown to a bit of opening for the general economy. But the event industry has been in the shadows, and other industries have been in the shadows. And going forward, I really think that it's important thing that we get heard.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's really what we're asking for, is just to get heard, to have a bit of a lifting of some sort.
Yeah.
There's so many dynamics in a show, multiple shows, to expos, to festivals, to rock concerts.
Yeah.
We should be allowed to open one of them.
Yeah. I mean, also,
slightly.
And also we all impact each other. There's recent ban on alcohol. While obviously there are reasons clogging hospitals and whatnot, that effect on our industry alone is massive. You know, I mean, we rely, for example, Lucky Summer, we can't actually have those events without sponsorship. We don't have sponsorship. We actually don't make any money. We'd make a huge loss on those events. So, you know, the reality is that those alcohol brands are pivotal to making sure that the events actually happen. And so just that alone, it weaves into our narrative, and it weaves into, and then it trickles down, like you said, the guys that are keeping their heads above water right now, and the guys that are drowning. I love that analogy, by the way. It's very, very, it's scary
It's
times.
reality. It's unfortunate though, because it's just where we are.
Yeah.
And we all have to. And what I do love about this whole, 5th of August and coming together as a country, not only coming together as a country, coming together as almost as globally.
Yeah.
Light your building or something red.
Doesn't matter where you
have
want
an
the world.
awareness.
Just do it. Just light it red.
To really build the awareness that we're not in a good position.
Yeah.
And really get out of it.
Thank you, Sven. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been really nice chatting to you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're a legend. Keep rocking it.
Yeah, you too. Thanks.
Well, we are down to our last guest live on this interrupted hashtag Light SA Red version of the LUCKDOWN. Thank you so much to everyone who's tuned in. Thank you to all of you who have been a part of the movement so far. If you put anything on your platforms, if you've posted a red picture, if you've changed the icon of your Facebook profile picture, if you posted a story, if you hashtag Light SA Red, you are helping us spread the movement right now. We just need to get people talking. That is what we're trying to do. Lights camp over 400 buildings around the country, red. So it's going to be a spectacle tomorrow. I'm looking forward to seeing all the photographs. My name is Jules. I'm from the band Good Luck. I talk the hind leg of a donkey, and thank you for letting me host the show tonight, and for letting me be a part of it. It's been an honor to chat to some of the key people from this industry. And ending off with the owner of this beautiful quarry that we are lighting up tonight, Mike. He's going to be chatting to me, but before we chat to him, we're just going to play you a video from Hillcrest Quarry. Check this out.
I was approached by Hillcrest SA if I was interested in basically in leasing this ground from them and turning it into a full-on function venue. I basically told them, get the contract ready, I'll be there in 5 minutes. And that's how it actually started. From the events perspective, we've done from your corporate family days to corporate functions, team building, conferencing, corporate year-end functions, product launches, rock concerts, a couple of electronic ones, and then also the other one that we've been doing for the 4th year now is the open air cinema, and that has been very popular, which we do every Tuesday from the beginning of November right up until the end of April.
So there you have it, guys. We have covered everything. We have covered technicians, we've covered bar companies, we have covered musicians, we've covered session musicians, and theatre performers. I think we just need to do clean music security, and then I think we've spoken to most people. But covering that as well, we are speaking to the owner of this incredible venue. This is Mike. Hello, Mike.
Hey, hi, Jules.
Thank you so much for letting us do this.
No, awesome. What a pleasure.
And to be a part of this incredible thing with you, just lights up the quarry red. But it started raining.
I know, yeah, it's one of those things.
It is one of those things, but we make a plan, you know.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Make a plan. So, Mike, goes without saying, the fashion industry, your guys' venue, which was a kick-ass venue before lockdown and really busy, lots of events, lots of corporate events. How did that all just tumble in on itself when you heard about the pandemic?
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's really just completely collapsed. And we were so booked up with so many events as well. I mean, we were calculating The last event we did was on the 13th of March, and that was Ramfest.
Oh, wow.
And then,
good one.
Yeah, really fantastic. And that was on the Friday, and that very Sunday, we actually had the whole speech and etc. I've been told that we'll be shut down by the next Thursday, and that was the last event we basically hosted. And I mean, we calculated with all our events. I mean, just up until the end of May, we had probably right up to about 20,000 people that we basically had to pull the plug on all the events, from Mixed Feelings to the Table Mountain Blue Summit to, oh geez, there were so many of them, and corporates as well. There were so many corporate family days and etc. And everything throughout the whole year basically completely cancelled. And so it was really bad, I mean, we had to really,
Rethink everything.
Rethink everything.
And
as
you
well.
and you obviously support a lot of people. I mean, can you give me an idea of scope of how many people and what different industries you guys support as a venue?
Whoa, where do we start?
Just an idea.
It's really from all the local staff as well that we employ, as for teams as well and etc. at the venue, from all our kitchen staff to all the catering and etc. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah,
it's really a lot.
And then your external service providers that come in for event days.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the ripple effect is massive. So you're talking a good few million rand that has been sucked at just one venue,
without a doubt,
out of the economy. And this is what we're talking about. As I think I've spoken about it before. When the event industry does eventually open up again, what is your hope? For a venue like this, what are you hoping the public? How are you hoping the public are going to respond once things start slowly opening up?
I think talking a lot to the public as well. I mean, the guys can't really wait. I mean, and they're like so eager to get back and to go and see a live show.
That's good to hear.
Yeah,
because as an artist, we don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, so I get so many guys like, Mike, when are you doing something? What's going to happen? Can't you do something? Can't you just sneak a little concert? I said, no, you can't. So it's like, guys are like, we're dying out here. We haven't seen any live acts and stuff and etc. So people are really dying. I really hope that people really, when we open up again, that they flood the support.
Yes.
For it, and really flood the venues and support the venues, support the arts, support everybody in the industry.
Sure.
That's really for the public out there to really get together as well, and go out and support them, and not first decide last minute. Typical of the Cape Townians, like when they would buy tickets and stuff. If something goes on, get those tickets.
Get them early, man. Get them early. For peace of mind, and for peace of mind in the hearts and the minds of the people that have really been feeling very anxious over this time. That's such an interesting point that you make, because it just got me thinking. Arts and entertainment. Like, what do we live for, guys? It's actually that's it. It's entertainment and it's food. I mean, I think there is like, those are two of the biggest reasons for living, right? And if they don't exist, there's a lot of joy sucked out of the world, right? For everybody. Yeah. And Mike, so you had to really kind of rethink your whole approach here. You've done some incredible work. I mean, I must say, in terms of venues, you guys have been at the forefront working with TechX. You guys have managed to completely transform the space. Tell me what you have managed to do and get right here.
Yeah, I think, as I took over the quarry about seven years ago, and I mean, really there wasn't much happening here and etc. And we really put a lot of things together. And, for the live music from all the rock concerts as well, down to all the electronic events, the corporates and etc. We basically really transformed the venue, I'd say.
Yeah.
And we kept it as a blank canvas, as what I call it. So, whether we're doing an Alan Gray family day or having an electronic event really the night before, which has happened before, and until 4 o'clock in the morning, setting up at 6, getting ready for a 9 o'clock Alan Gray event for another 1,200 people. So it's like, pressure's
real.
Pressure's there, what I mean? And but we do it. I just love this industry.
And now you have managed with this pandemic to actually start something really awesome, which is the drive-in concerts. So you've managed to do something, even though it's obviously not enough.
Yeah, it's basically, because of the events industry, we actually have to be very careful how we actually call it because of the event industry. So
drive-in cinema.
No, we actually a roadhouse of our restaurant.
Okay, a roadhouse, right? Okay, or the movie.
Yeah, we stick a movie in there for the people to entertain, etc.
Yeah, and you're serving people meals to their cars, so they can keep socially distanced and
basically
all of that.
Like sitting in your car, and instead of sitting in a restaurant, you're actually sitting in your car and etc. And you've been served by waiters, restaurants, cuisine. And we've managed to get that going and stuff and etc. So we're hoping that that we're the first one in the Western Cape to basically start with it. And I've been helping out a lot of guys phoning me and say, Mike, we got this venue. It's like, how can we do it? And I'll give them all the advice on how to do it. So the more of us
that are doing it, the better. That's
Exactly.
wonderful. You see, we need more people like Mike.
Yeah.
He's not thinking only for himself, thinking for the whole industry. I think that's been one of probably the most beautiful thing about this situation is that more people have been coming together, not just in each sector of the world, but just artists coming together, with venue owners coming together, with technical coming, or just having conversations going like, how are you doing, checking in. And I think that a lot of that interpersonal connection was lost in the madness leading up to this. So there is a light that we can carry forward into the new way of dealing with each other and working together.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think with everybody in the industry working together, I think that is the key to the success of this industry, of getting back again.
Absolutely.
And getting back, with a massive bang as well.
Yeah.
And and that everybody really works together on this. And I think with that, it's just going to make it become a very quick success back again, which is what we're looking for. We don't want this thing to drag out and everybody fighting. We need to get back and with them has one hell of a bang as well. And
yeah, absolutely.
And say, well, the events industry is now back. Yeah,
absolutely.
And I just hope I hope our minister can think out of the box a little bit and try and get us to that space a little bit quicker.
There have been plans proposed to him by various organizations, plans that have been vetted internationally, plans that have been sitting and just haven't been answered. So I think this is part of the movement. #LightSARed. We're wanting just to engage in a conversation and how we can implement some of these plans so that people are not afraid, so that there are definite safety precautions put in place. Coming to an event, you can be rest assured that you're coming to an event where all the right protocols are being put in place to make sure that you're safe. Mike, I just want to say thank you so much. We're going to end on that positive note.
Awesome.
And thank you so much for letting us take over your quarry and light it up. Sorry the weather guards didn't play ball, but yeah, we'll definitely be back here sooner than later to do a massive good luck concert again.
Awesome.
So I look forward to that.
Thanks, Jules, and
From my
thanks to all the production staff as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Beautiful people, fans of all the pages that we're streaming live to. If you guys have no idea who I am, who this crazy lady is who's been waffling on for so long, my name is Jules. I'm from the band Good Luck. We generally host our show, The LUCKDOWN, every Wednesday night from our page on Good Luck's page, Facebook and YouTube. And tonight we decided to do a completely interrupted version, which is the #LightSARed, be part of the movement. Tonight, if you guys don't know, the whole event industry has been working so hard to light up buildings and structures all around South Africa. Over 400 iconic buildings have been lit up all around the country. And the tech teams have gone out of their way. They're not earning any money. The freelancers are working together. They've gone out, taken red lights, shone them up at these buildings just to create awareness, to create a spectacle, to kind of show people what the situation is like right now for the arts and entertainment industry and the events industry. We are in crisis, guys. We have 5 months of no work behind us and unforeseeable months ahead of us. No answer from government, no payouts from the Arts and Culture Fund. I know hundreds of artists that have applied and have had no response back. And then, of course, you have your freelancers, your guys who work literally cleaning, who work doing technical, who work gig to gig, who don't qualify for UIF, who have not even been considered. And these are active, contributing members of the economy. These are people that we need to protect. These are good people in our country. And we're sitting now in a situation where the only way that we can actually make a difference is with your help. You need to help us create noise. You need to help us create a vibe and a whole buzz around what we're doing. How you can do that, it's really simple. There are a few things. One, tonight you can go and put a picture on all your social media platforms, your stories, your Facebook profile, change it red, #LightSARed. That is really a start. You're just engaging with the whole movement and you're shining a light on the movement. That's a beautiful start. Then supporting all events that are happening online, streaming events, buy tickets for the artists. You know, if you can afford it, buy more than one ticket. Artists have Patreon pages. They have Bandcamp set up. Support them, because if they're able to get enough capital together, they can host more events and have a trickle-down effect for the technical companies and for all the different suppliers that we need to uplift in this time. Then, if you guys are good with words, if you really feel motivated to protect this industry that you love, if you really want to do something and make one hell of a difference, you can also write to government, write letters, you know, explain your frustration and get involved in any way that you really feel you can. At the moment, we are literally looking to all of our fans. We're looking to our community of festival goers. We're looking to our community of people who love music, who love live events, to say to you guys, we're in crisis. Help us, you know. And I know we're not the only industry in crisis, guys. There are many, many, many industries in crisis. This is not a competition. We are just here tonight to actually shine a light on one of the industries that has been affected the most. And the reason I say that is because we were the first to go and we will be the last to leave. So just bear that in mind, you know. If there is anyone who would like to reach out to me personally with any ideas, I'm always open to listening. You can hit us up on the Good Luck Live page, Good Luck Live on Facebook, Instagram. You can DM me. I always reply. If you have any ideas that we haven't thought about here, we've just been opening the dialogue with various people in the industry, right from technicians, right through to artists, right through to venue owners, bar suppliers, and obviously people that sit on the council. If you guys have any good ideas, if you're thinking of an idea that we haven't thought of yet, please engage with us in discussion. We're here to listen and we're here to make a difference with you, you know. We are nothing without you, and we know that. But I like to think that your lives would be a lot less fulfilled and enriched without us. So help us save this industry, guys, and as quickly as possible. Government, we're calling out to you to answer our questions. We're calling out to you to answer our plans. We're calling out to you to get back to the association that has been putting memorandums on your desk. If there's anyone from government watching this, we hope that you will help us get this to the right people and as quickly up the food chain as we possibly can. The weather's rolling in. We're going to have to sign out now, guys. But I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who's been involved in this. SSIO, TechX, Hillcrest Quarry, Intello, all the guests who we had on tonight. We had everyone from the artists, the famous artists, right through to the session guys, right through to all the venue owners and bar suppliers. And thank you so much to you for watching. I really do appreciate you guys getting involved, helping us spread the word. And don't forget, guys, tonight of all nights, Light SA Red. Let's continue this movement into the future. Go spread the word and check out all the infrastructure that has been lit up tonight. And so for myself, Jules, the rest of my team, Ben and Tim, and everyone who's made this happen, thank you so much. #Light SA Red. Look after yourselves, look after each other. Good night and good luck.